So hi everyone, I'm Georgia. I'm a training and adoption specialist. I'm sure I've definitely met a number of you, so it's nice to see you again. For those of you that haven't seen me before, hello, welcome. Now you can see my little bio there. I'm driven by customer success. I like to think of myself / others will refer to me as the resident Clippy of ICOM. So, even if you haven't asked me a question yet, I might already be there trying to offer you help. I have two cats. One's clever and one's orange. And despite my background, I'm not originally from the Uncanny Valley, and that'll make a bit more sense shortly. So let's get into some of these updates. What's new in modern work? So I hope you're all ready to say hello to the new Teams, especially if you haven't already started using it. If not, now might be the time to hit the little switch in the top left corner. Classic Teams is going to be retiring on the 31st of March. So you've got about 6 weeks from now. Make that switch when you can, just so you can get used to it. Go back to old Teams if you need to. But I think even though, new Teams did have a few little growing pains initially, it is now well and truly up to the standard of classic Teams. I've been able to find very few things that I can't do in the new Teams that I could in classic. And you're going to find your computer will be happier, it runs a lot faster, and it's just generally cleaner, a lot more streamlined. I'm enjoying running my meetings in light mode, and you'll see a screenshot of what that looks like shortly. So yeah, if you have any questions about what to do with moving to new Teams, if you feel like you need some training, reach out. So next up, this is just a really small user experience improvement to the context search, but it's actually more my excuse to tell you all about context search because I feel like a lot of people don't know this one. Essentially, if you're in any chat or any channel and you want to do a search in that chat or channel, just hit Control or Command F and you'll be able to context search that entire chat or that entire channel. So this is really useful. You don't have to just go to the search bar. You can look where you're already looking and search within that. Now they have updated the UI for this. It used to sort of cover up the chat section on the left, but now it's over on the right and it's got its own little thing. And you can click between the different entries of that keyword you've typed in. So give that one a try. I really like context search myself. Makes it easier to find the message you're referring to when you're trying to say, no, I did message you about that. Don't worry. Now, for those of you that use group calls and have accidentally called the group rather than the one person, and I'm sure a few of you might need this, you can now get a little warning when you try to group call the whole group. So essentially, you click the call button at the top of the group, you're only trying to call one person, but you accidentally called 8. Now it's going to ask you to confirm this. And this is an important update. The amount of calls I've actually gotten from this, I think we've all felt that. Next up is loop components. They've been around in your chat since 2021, and now you can finally post it in a channel. I know, I've been waiting for this for a while. Yay! So these components can also be created and edited across Microsoft Teams, included in an interactive meeting agenda. You can create them in a whiteboard. You can make them in an email and Outlook. They exist in Microsoft Word. And of course, at loop.microsoft.com, the home of Loop. But yeah, you definitely want to try out using those loop components and channels because that's going to give you that greater level of interactivity, especially on a channel post, which can feel a little static for some users. So very exciting. Only, 2.5 years in the making. Okay, the next few slides are going to be about the enhanced meetings. For those of you that haven't noticed, I hope you've noticed by now, you should have some changes just to the look and feel of how your meetings work. So you may have noticed that you will see your own face in the gallery more often. Maybe not while you're sharing content, but while you're, just in a meeting having a chat, just like kind of on Zoom. Maybe that's a dirty word around here, but you'll see your face appearing in the gallery alongside everyone else. It's also going to prioritize video from meeting rooms. So something that I've always done when I'm on the other end of a meeting with a room is I've always pinned that room to make it extra big. Now it will do that automatically for you, so you can actually see everyone, which makes it a little bit easier. You're also going to see people with their cameras off. So they're still included. They're not just relegated to that kind of side pocket where you're not sure if they're there or not. So this is all very exciting stuff. There's a lot more in this package though. So you're going to be able to prioritize people with video, which is going to be a little checkbox under the view menu. And you'll be able to click that. It'll put the people with their cameras off away. So if you do want to see camera feeds only, go for it. You can also select what your maximum gallery size is. So for years we were saying, it's a maximum of 9 people in gallery. If you want to see more, you got to go large gallery. And then one day it just sort of changed and I started seeing 16 people. Now you can specify. So depending on the size of your screen, you might want to have up to 16, you might want to have up to 49, which is a 7x7 grid. You can choose how many people you want in your gallery. So if you don't want to see everyone, you just want to see 4, go for it, you're right ahead. Now, this is what a meeting looks like in light view, which is pretty handy, but you might have also noticed that there's some streamlined audio visual controls. Now, as a trainer, I love these. They're very special to me. You don't have to dig through your settings to change your camera, to change your background anymore. Now you should see, or you will soon see, a little drop-down arrow next to the camera or the mute icon at the top of your screen there. And from there, you can access some quick different settings that you might need to change, whether it's turning off your background, putting on a blur, putting on, just the first background you've got, switching your camera around, switching your microphone, popping on that noise suppression because something's gotten loud in the background. So these are really easy. I really recommend you have a little look at those. There's just little drop-down arrows next to your camera and microphone. Should pop down with all of your options there. And it's so much better than digging through the more menu and then into settings and then off you go. So little quality of life update for you all. The next one, maybe less important to the every person, but Microsoft Teams Immersive Spaces have now arrived. So if you haven't heard about Microsoft Mesh, think the awkward videos with Zuckerberg without any legs. It's kind of that vibe. Speaking of, you can use this on a Meta Quest VR. So if you have one, why not give it a try? But essentially, you can run around in this futuristic virtual space. It has some interesting mechanics. I haven't got to fully try them out yet, but you can hear people better when you're near them, and you can sort of not hear them if you run away. One of the default ones has like a couple of weird little mini games, like you can toast a marshmallow for reasons. So there's lots you can do in the Microsoft Immersive Space. Anyone that's ever played any computer games on a PC or with a keyboard, you run around with WASD and you can, angle your camera with Q and E. So for the hardcore nerds out there, it's very comfortable for you. And yeah, so far these are only available on Windows. I'm keeping an eye out on the Mac just to make sure that I know when it's there. But yeah, so far only on Windows. Pretty silly, pretty fun. Give it a go if you've got, an interesting meeting to do. But yeah, very cool stuff in the world of immersive spaces in VR. And speaking of entering the metaverse, Teams is going to be available on the Apple Vision Pro. So if you've got, the price of a used car to drop on a bit of tech to wear on your face, then you can also attend your meetings on the Apple Vision Pro. So if that's something that you're into, awesome. It's also going to have Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint available. So the basics of the Microsoft suite, and you'll be able to, tappa, join your meetings while you're doing your grocery shopping as well, or whatever you want to do with that. The thing that always gets me with these face cameras is that, you can't really show your own face. So that is where the avatars come in. If you haven't played with that yet, definitely time to make yourself in The Sims and jump on into a meeting. Now, we did talk about this one already, but the Microsoft Teams Decorate My Background is also here. Those eagle-eyed viewers at home might have noticed I've been mucking around with mine the whole meeting. So you can click a button and it will AI generate something based on what's behind you. They're a little bit weird, a little bit uncanny valley. Whenever I click Surprise Me, which is one of the options, it always puts me under the sea. It's meant to have different options, but it's always under the sea. So I guess I just give off some Ursula Sea Witch vibes or something. That's okay. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll give you a warning. It does take a minute or so to generate, and it gives you 2 options after it's finished generating. The one you should select should automatically save into your library, but there's a little ellipses you can click to save it. And then you can come back and get them later if you wanted to change them around. So I could go and pop a celebration one on, which is put balloons and presents behind me. So cool stuff to do. A little bit of fun if you want to play with it. I think they still look pretty uncanny valley. So if you've ever wondered what your kitchen would look like in the uncanny valley, well, now we know, like this. I've also noticed they tend to put chairs sort of floating around behind your head and things like that. So stuff to know, stuff to be aware of. I'm going to go back to my sea cave. And last but not least, for anyone using Teams calling, especially on your mobile phone, you hopefully will have noticed this already, but there is a new simplified interface for the Teams mobile app when you get a call. So anyone that's been trying to field calls and, having to struggle with this tiny little button that's sort of hidden right next to the hang up button, hang up on people rather than transfer the call, it's a whole nightmare. No longer. Now it's a lot more like a regular phone, getting a regular phone call. You have your nice big buttons. You can mute yourself. You can change your sound, and you can also hold and transfer directly from that screen. So you don't have to dig in menus anymore. And I think that's great. Anytime you no longer have to dig in menus for those important features, I'm always going to call that out as being excellent design. So that is it for me. If you have any questions or want to go deeper into any of that, just want to talk to me about, Microsoft Loop or VR or something like that, hit me up and we can have a chat. So thank you.